Well, before we got to Guan, and the reason we got to Guan is that we already had first-hand testimony from someone about Guan's direct dealings. We were talking to someone who knew Guan, knew his background, and we had a lot of information about what he was up to, which included the fact that he had on at least one occasion transported horn from what appeared to be a newly killed rhino, in as much as the horn was bloody and smelly. So we don't just turn up with a camera to secretly film somebody. We need prima facie evidence that there's a reason to film them and that what we're filming is something substantive enough to justify secret filming. So once we got to meet him, the conversations began fairly carefully. You don't just go in and start to talk about illegal rhino horn dealing. Guan himself was very open. He started off talking about his own illegal background, how he came into South Africa illegally, how he had a conviction for running an illegal gambling den, that he was now bribing someone to try and get rid of that record. He talked about how he bribed immigration officers, turned a blind eye to the fact he was employing illegal people. So clearly he himself was talking about his, as it were, illegal CV. Within that, when he raised the issue of horn, we always prime our undercover people with questions very carefully, so they're not sort of going over the top. But we got Guan to talk about what he knew about horn to demonstrate his knowledge of it. Then, obviously, we wanted to test if he was actually part of the supply chain, and he proved that he was by putting us in touch with this man in China who turned up with a horn for sale. So obviously there's a very careful line. You would never ever want to be involved in commissioning a crime, but you have to confirm that the person you're dealing with, exactly as you say, is not just mouthing it off to want to impress you. And, Guan, step by step, and these are very slow, careful, rigorous investigations, confirmed everything that we thought about him. But I'll tell you, for me, the line in the program that sums up why this is such a massive challenge comes not from Guan, but comes from the other Chinese citizen, a man in Pretoria who runs a Chinese restaurant. And he's the man who talks about taking Xi Jinping's delegation out on an illegal shopping spree. And he said, when we first met him, there are so many weirdos in South Africa, they're obsessed with animal protection. And that absolutely sums up the challenge, that here is a mindset that says there is absolutely nothing wrong in wanting chopsticks and stamps and rhino horn, and the fact that it actually involves going out and slaughtering an animal and stripping Africa of its natural resources is just not something that they think about. So I think dealing with that is the biggest challenge of this problem.